Welcome to the Ed Answer Key, the podcast where in the time it takes to complete hall duty and attendance, we embark on an educational adventure for both teachers and families. So whether you're a seasoned educator or a family navigating the school system, buckle up for the Ed Answer Key.
I will say I was listening to last season earlier, and you had mentioned, Jaleesa, something about the power of co-teaching with your SPED instructor. And other people on the podcast were just talking about the time and the lack of it and the struggle of co-planning with everyone. And I so bad wanted to counter some of those things, because with time and effort, you can have a good co-planning relationship. It is 100% possible to take the time to plan with someone so that you are not buried. I'm seeing so much success co-planning. There is time. You have to find it. Me and my co-teacher, we come in at 7:30 so that by 8 o'clock, we're ready to go over for the day. Mm-hmm. And we're ready to make sure that we have a skeleton plan of what is coming, because we like to change things all the time. If the kids aren't getting, we have to change it. And every passing period we talk, how did this go? How did that go? And I think that there's power in that.
Definitely. And really, when you're co-teaching, students shouldn't be able to tell, especially like, say, if you have your gen ed teacher and your SPED teacher, students shouldn't be able to tell who's who. There's only one pair of teachers that I can say that I always say it's better to be consistently good than occasionally great. Mm-hmm. Every time I'm in their classroom, you cannot tell who the gen ed teacher is, who the SPED teacher is. Students that know how to advocate for themselves, I've even heard them ask, like, wait, which one of you is my teacher of record? Because they don't know. Like, you can't, and that's what co-teaching is. You cannot tell. It shouldn't be that they're just in here. And I know there's different models and they might have to go back and forth from class to class, but they might pull out a small group of kids, and the next time it might be you pulling them out, and they're up, with the whole group, and have them engaged in differentiated activities. But unfortunately, that's not typically the case.
No, I've only had that experience once for 2 months, and it was the best experience of my life. I used to be up at the board saying something, and this SPED teacher would walk in, and she would just take like half the class and like get them to turn around to be with her, and then I'd have the other half, and then we'd switch, and she'd walk out, and then she'd walk in as if she never left, and no one knew who it was. They knew I was, and sitting and subbing for their original teacher, but they were like, man, which one is which? And it was the most beautiful experience.
Well, from a para's point of view, I was going to say that's really important, because I have, in some of the classes that I go into, some of the kids are like, oh, well, she's not the teacher, so let me just go to the other teacher. Or they'll be like, oh, Miss Alexa probably doesn't know much about this, so let's talk to the actual teacher in the classroom. I don't co-plan. I've never gotten the chance to do that. But I had one teacher that I worked with my first year. She would always come in the classroom that I'm in every morning before the bell rings. She'd give me like a rundown of what she was doing in her class today. She would ask me, what do you think? Like, do you think we should split the kids up, and then you take one half, I'll take the other half? Mm-hmm. Do you want to work together? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I enjoyed being in that classroom so much because I was involved, and we were in sync too. Mm-hmm. And she had 2 pairs in the classroom, so all 3 of us were in sync, and none of the kids saw us differently. They didn't see me as just a para. They saw me as another teacher in that classroom. And I'm like, we should be in sync. Like, yes. That's something that I really put, like I highlight the most. Like, I should be in sync with all these other teachers that I work with. Like, we should be
How do we do
basically
that?
in one.
I was going to ask.
What would your ultimate thing be? How would you as a para want to do that? Because here's the deal. It's stats. There are just over 1 million paraprofessionals as far as in the United States right now working, and just over 3 million K through 12 teachers. You've got 3 teachers that on average a para is working with 3 other teachers. Because you mentioned something about coming in and they're just doing a rundown as far as what they're doing for the day, and that incredibly helping you. And that's not really even planning. That's just like, hey, That's like a trailer.
Just giving you
of
like
the
a heads
movie.
up.
How do we structure something? Like, what would be the ultimate structure of a new para with a new teacher coming in with an emergency license? How should they structure their day in order to best equip the paraprofessional that they're going to be working with to assist them in what they're doing?
What I've done, I've gone to certain teachers. It's gotten to the point where there's one teacher that I work well with a lot, and she shares everything that she's doing, all her lesson plans. Like, she has it available for me to see. So every day I already know what we're doing because every single one of her lesson plans are on there. Every activity that we're going to do, if we're going to go to the library that day or not, if we need to differentiate instructions, like all that's there. I felt like that's helped me a lot because then I know what I'm going to be doing in that class or what I need to do to change to help the kids a little bit more.
That goes back to planning because we've had that discussion too. Teachers do not plan. They might have an idea of what they're doing, but if they're organized and they have their lessons planned to share with you, because your job, especially when you're not tied to one teacher and you have different content, even if you got in there and trying to meet with each teacher, that's not enough time like for them to explain and for you to absorb. But if you plan and you have those plans and the teacher can see ahead of time and come with questions or suggest, well, maybe if we tried this, I think this might work a little better with the students. That would be so powerful, but not every teacher plans. So then you've got to kind of fly by the seat of your pants because that's how they roll.
Imagine how the students feel. They don't know how it's being presented, and they're the ones that are going to have to explain to, well, why is it that you've got a D or you've got an F in this class? Well, I'm doing the best that I can, and they generally are.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the Ed Answer Key. Your support means the world to us. Be sure to stay in the loop about upcoming topics by downloading our free podcast companion at www.edanswerkey.com. So until next time, class dismissed.